Welcome everybody back to AuburnVersus.com. Mike Szvetitz, sports editor of the Opelika-Auburn News with Collin Mickle, Auburn University beat writer. And Collin, we're back out at practice field. Things starting to wind down. About 3 more days of camp, quote unquote, till school starts the Thursday, and then it'll be back to, I guess, normal as Auburn gets into its season mode, preparing for games. Camp now, it's almost over with. What kind of highlights have we brought out of this camp?
Well, one of the highlights has been the heat. Obviously, I mean, they're testing the kids. It's going to be hot when they play games, and so every day that they've been out here, they've been sweating it out. Really, Pat Sims has been one of the highlights on the defensive line. He's not as hot as he was when he first started camp, but he has really been very impressive. Right. Robert Dunn at wide receiver has been great, and Quentin Groves, of course, has been a revelation on the defensive line. The defense has looked good in every time they've gone 11 on 11.
Are they going to be as fast as everybody's saying they are? I mean, obviously the bulk of the experience comes back on the defensive side, but are they going to be as fast and athletic as it seems they are?
Oh, absolutely. And again, they don't seem to miss a beat as far as speed. The linebackers look really quick. The defensive backs, even the defensive line. I feel like Josh Thompson's probably not going to win any Olympic sprints. I'm sorry, Josh, I love you, but it's true. But the rest of the defense is very fast.
Right. Then we talk about another big story coming out of this is injuries. I mean, there's some significant injuries that have happened the past couple of days for Auburn. Steve Gandy has since retired from concussions that he's suffered through 4 in the last 8 months. We heard some bad news about Tez Doolittle, who popped his Achilles tendon. He'll be done for pretty much his Auburn career. Talk about the injuries and just through it seems like it's a walking wounded out here.
Well, Auburn got some good news today. Jason Bosley is hyperextended his knee. Okay. Looks like he's going to be all right. Okay. He's going to miss a couple days of practice, and that's it. They're still waiting on Carl Stewart to get healthy. They say it's a hamstring injury. He's missed all but 1 day or 2 days of practice, and that's a real problem. They need Carl out there. He's a good player. Really, those are the two big injured guys right now. Jamarcus Rex, who they're expecting to be part of a rotation of the defensive line, especially with Tez out, needs to get back from a hamstring injury. And Mike Blanc has ankle and wrist problems, but he's been out there practicing. So, they're banged up. Obviously, Neil Caudle with the separated shoulder is a problem. But as far as starters, those are the big names.
And the big news out of the weekend was the scrimmage that Auburn did. Is over 125 play scrimmage that was close to the media and obviously the fans. They let the quarterbacks go live in this scrimmage, which was a shock to a lot of us who, quarterbacks don't get hit. They wear the red or green jersey for a reason, so they don't get hit. But Tommy Tuberville had a little bit different philosophy for the scrimmage on Saturday.
Well, Tommy's philosophy was, and he's entitled to his opinion, that the quarterbacks needed to get hit. Why, I'm not entirely sure, except that I suppose if they play, they'll get hit. Right. I guess getting hit in practice will prepare you for that. I feel like it would still hurt if Glenn Dorsey landed on me, even if I had Pat Sims land on me a week before. But yeah, it's that was the plan. Caudle got dinged up a little bit. Steven Insminger is having shoulder problems now, although it's not clear if that was from the contact in the scrimmage or just from the work of throwing the ball so much. But yeah, it's something that you can't second guess now that Caudle is hurt, and he was the guy who was contending for that number 2 job, who's going to be out for probably a month now at least.
Now the quarterback situation kind of gets flopped around now. Blake Field was the backup for the last 2 years, and everybody said coming into this spring it was going to be Caudle and maybe even Cody Burns as the 2 and 3. Now what does it look like since Caudle's hurt? Cody Burns impressed on the scrimmage, so we've heard. What is the quarterback situation? How's it shape up now?
I want to take a minute to say that Blake Field also had a good scrimmage. He was the only one not to throw an interception. He threw a touchdown pass to Perche Rodriguez. Had a good day. Cody is a guy who just has such a boom-bust mentality. Right. He can make big plays with his feet and with his arm. And he did have a great scrimmage. He had a big long run and a long pass. Threw an interception on a tipped ball. But he's a kid who has some talent. He's a freshman. He's still kind of learning the game. Definitely still learning the offense. And although Auburn's coaches are saying all the right things about him competing and him being able to get in the mix in the depth chart, I personally would be a little bit surprised to see him play this season.
Yeah, and that's Tommy Tuberville said from day one that they're not going to waste his scholarship year on a couple plays just to get him in. Obviously, they're not going to waste it on a New Mexico State or a Mississippi State. If he can come in and win ball games, though, and help him like Tim Tebow did for Florida last year, do you see him playing? Or is it just totally ruled out? Anything's possible, but in your expert opinion, being out here every day talking to the coaches and players, can Cody Burns play this year?
Does he have the ability? Sure. Auburn's coaches have not historically been real interested in creating special packages for players. They want players to learn the whole offense. Right. Tommy's been kind of all over the map in what he says about Cody. I think he's trying to keep his options open. Right. But I would say if I had to read the tea leaves and stake my life on it right now, I would say that Cody would not play this season.
Talk about the offense.
I'm sure I'll regret that in October.
But everything, last year I had Eric Crouch or whoever wins in the Heisman. I don't even know. My picks are terrible. Eric Crouch did win it.
Eric Crouch does great work.
8 years ago. He did win the Heisman. So, anyway, Going back to who's going to protect the quarterbacks now. We've got an offensive line that's dinged up. You said Bosley's hyperextended knee, but again, you never really know until he can actually play again what the extent of his injury is. If he's okay, you still got some question marks on the offensive line with guys either not stepping up or guys who nobody thought was going to step up coming in like Lee Zimba and guys like Ryan Pugh, freshmen who've actually turned some heads this preseason practice. What's the offensive line situation look like now?
Well, Lee Zimba right now is one of a couple guys who is competing for that right tackle job, and he has a good chance to do it. He is a very talented kid, and there's a real vacancy at that position. Now, right now, I think Antoine Daniels is still running with the ones at the first team, and Antoine's a guy who's a junior. He's been around. He's backed up some good players, and it's time. I think in a perfect world, he or Andrew McCain, sophomore, they're both veterans.
Right.
They would be the guys to be stepping into that role. But Zimba is definitely pushing them, and I don't think that Hugh Null would mind playing Zimba if he proves that he's ready for it.
And true freshman playing that right tackle position, which is so important with Brandon Cox being a left-handed quarterback. It's protecting his blind side. How important is that specific one position for this offense? For Brandon Cox, obviously, a lot hinges on Brandon Cox's health. He was hurt last year, and they were only able to run about 70% of the offense. If he goes down like that again this year, Auburn might be in trouble, so that right tackle position is a pretty big spot for them to fill.
No question, and I think regardless, you'll see Auburn play a tight end on that right side a lot. I think you'll see the tight ends doing a lot of pass blocking because they're just so serious about trying to keep Brandon healthy and protect Brandon. And no matter who wins the right tackle job, from the looks of what we've seen in fall camp, they're going to need some help. The right tackle right now is a weak position on Auburn's offensive line.
And it's a rotating door, and it seems like, but if you do put a tight end on that side, you've got some pretty good ones. And Cole Bennett back for his 6th year. You got an eligibility redshirt, medical redshirt, so he's back. Tommy Trott, Gabe McKenzie, obviously those guys are proving themselves. So tight end, they look pretty good if they have to put somebody there. As fall camp winds down, just give me the big picture. What kind of Auburn football team is this from before practice started till now? I mean, are they still work in progress?
Yeah, they're who we thought they would be. They've got work to do still. They're a talented team. They've got a very veteran, talented quarterback. They got a great string of running backs, and they've got big questions. They've got guys who still need to step up on defense. They've still got unsettled spots in the offensive line. This is a team with all the potential in the world. This is a team that could very easily contend for the SEC championship. But it's also a team that, if everything doesn't go right, could end up with 3 or 4 losses.
Obviously, with road games at Florida, at Georgia, at Arkansas, and at LSU. Those 4 games on the road, Auburn could like you said, easily win those, but of course drop those as well. Collin Mickle from the Opelika-Auburn News. He's our Auburn University beat writer. Mike Szvetitz, the sports editor of the OA News. Come back and join us on AuburnVersus.com. We'll be back throughout the season with highlights and recaps. And don't forget to check out Colin's blog, My 5 Cent blog, on OANow.com, and Auburn Versus and Mind the Lazy blog. You can read those all on our websites. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.